being shoved to the side. I go back into the kitchen to process what just happened. My manager is not having this. She says, "Don't worry, I'm taking care of it." A few minutes later, she hands me an oven mitt to carry out this woman's plate. The gravy is practically steaming at this point, and I'm sure my manager microwaved the gravy for probably 5 minutes or more. I served it to the woman and say, "My manager made this, just how you asked for." The lady is seated right next to the counter, so I get to watch all of this go down. At first, she looks so smug. She takes the first bite and her face distorts, and she spits it out as it clearly burnt her mouth. This causes quite a scene. I walk over and smile and politely say, "How's everything?" in the fakest customer service voice that I could. She quietly and red-faced said, "I must be having an allergic reaction or something." She doesn't touch her food for the rest of the meal. She just sat there silently. They usually get pie for dessert, but this time her boyfriend pays, and they just leave. Several years ago, I was working in an American-style Chinese restaurant as a waiter. This was a family-owned business with lots of regulars. Workers here got to know the people on a first-name basis and often remembered who lives where. Most of the customers were really cool, but there's always a few that were spawn of Satan. On this particular day that I was working, a gentleman called in for delivery, and as soon as his address came up on the computer, I knew exactly who it was. This guy was an absolute asshole when he's sober, and he's every food industry worker's worst nightmare when he's drunk. On the days that he'd dine in, he was usually drunk and complaining about everything that he could about the restaurant. On days that he'd order delivery, he'd also be drunk, and either shortchange our drivers, or not give them a tip. I've had to deal with this guy quite a few times before, so I've mentally prepared myself for whatever was coming my way. Every time he orders, he demands that we give him extra containers of hot chili oil. For those of you that don't know what chili oil is, it's crushed chilies cooked in oil. It's all made in-house and super delicious stuff, not to mention pretty damn spicy. But because it's made in-house and not ordered in bulk from a restaurant supplier, we usually charge for it. For each order, we always give one container for free, and then charge 50 cents for each additional container. So this guy puts in an order for soup and fried rice and demands that we give him 4 extra containers of hot chili oil. I inform him that we'd have to charge him for the additional 3 that he requested. He says that he's a regular here and he should be getting something for free. So I tell them I can make whatever dish he wants spicy so he can avoid getting charged for the extra size of chili oil. And I remember exactly what he said to me that day. He said, "Fine. Make that fucking soup spicy. If it's not spicy, I want my whole meal for free." So he gets a large soup that's roughly 32 ounces. I filled over a quarter of that container with hot chili oil and the rest with soup. This is a wonton soup, so the broth is typically transparent. This thing that he ordered was practically pure dark red, ready to destroy anyone's anus after consuming it. I took one whiff of the soup and my butthole clenched up as my eyes watered from the smell. I packed up that order and I sent it out for delivery. After that day, the guy never came back in again. I did see him at the grocery store every once in a while, and I'd chuckle at how painful that bowel movement must have been for him. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of Reddit Malicious Compliance. If you guys liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video.
What was I even going to do? I completely forgot.
Hey guys, welcome to an episode of the subreddit called I Don't Work Here, Lady. In this video, you're gonna find stories of people being... He told me he was gonna play more video games and maybe clean it up if he had time before work. And that didn't fly with me. My boyfriend is not very internet or computer savvy, and I'm the only one who repairs his computer or fixes the internet. I decided to log into our router and add his computer to Mac filter devices, meaning his internet would inexplicably shut off and on at my discretion during his game, which was League of Legends. If I heard him making intense calls on comms, I'd shut off the internet and then back on seconds later. If I heard him clicking more and probably in an intense 1v1, I'd shut it down for 2 minutes and then let him back on. I wasn't a suspect at all, considering I was innocently laying in the bedroom with our dog, and he doesn't even know what Mac filtering is. He kept screaming in frustration and pacing around waiting for the internet to come back on. I kept asking him if he wanted me to take a look at his computer, but he declined. He decided not to play any more games afterward and finally cleaned the kitchen. Thank fuck. This is my favorite gas station cashier revenge story to tell. I've been working for this gas station for 3 years and eventually got pretty comfortable at this point. We also have no public restrooms. No, not customers only restrooms. We actually have no public restrooms. We have a lot of guys that like to piss onto the side of the building by the payphone because it was just out of sight through the storefront window. We were also neighbors with a small hamburger shop and there was a chain link fence between us. So over time it became obvious that when a customer was leaving the store and made a left, it meant that they were probably going to take a piss in the corner. One day, this guy walks in doing the famous "I gotta pee" dance while hurrying to the counter and asks for $40 on pump 3. I ring it up and watch him jog back to his truck and start pumping his gas. He then jogs back and asks for a restroom. I had already noticed that he had to pee pretty badly, and we could actually get fired for letting people use the toilet. So I told him, "Oh, I'm sorry man, we don't have any public restrooms. The closest one is McDonald's across the street." He then said, "I just paid for gas though, so where's the bathroom?" I told him, "Sorry, it's for employees only." So he rolled his eyes and walked out the door and made a left. I knew he was going to take a piss in the corner, so while he's taking the piss, I go to the register and stop his pump, and then I walk back to the room and began to fill a bucket with hot water along with a splash of some cleaning chemical we used to mop the floor with. I then walk up to the counter and casually wait for the guy to notice that his pump had stopped. The freelance pisser starts jiggling the handle of the pump and pressing buttons, and then gives up and heads back inside the store. He begins saying, "Hey, my pump," and then I cut him off and said, "Please take this bucket of hot water and splash it all over the piss that you took outside, and I'll restart your pump." He looked at me in amazement and says, okay. He then takes the bucket and rinsed off the wall outside. He then walks back and hands me the empty bucket. I said, "Your pump should be good to go now. Please don't pee on the building next time." He apologizes and then pumps his gas and then leaves. Maybe I was a little extra, but during the summer, the smell is the fucking worst, and we were always the one that had to clean it up. I found a better job 4 months after that. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of Petty Revenge. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't hesitate to subscribe. See you guys in the next one. This is a story I recall from college. As any college student is aware, textbooks have been a scam for a very long time.
Oh, I've watched every single one of his videos. Cool. Okay, what was I even going to do? I completely fucking forgot. I gotta get some coal, and then I need to make a hoe.